Are you tired and need more energy back? Try these 3 things in 5 minutes or less on the thinking effect. Now, we're not going to talk about eating and diet and food. We're not talking about that. Very quickly, thank you so much for tuning in. Like, subscribe, and share. We're talking about when you are in a particular environment. Let me keep it real with you. When you're at work or you got a particular job or you're doing something and it just feels as if you're super tired. Like when you leave that job, you just feel so drained and you can't figure out why. So here are 3 things that you can do right now to get some of your energy back. Now, I always talk about the DISC assessment, natural versus adaptive, but here's where it comes into play. Rule number 1, you have to identify, are you functioning in your natural state, which is easy without thinking about it, or are you functioning in your adaptive state, which is a state in which you have to be to fit into the environment when other people are watching you. Now, the adaptive state is naturally made for fight or flight, right? So if you go somewhere and something happens, right, your body will naturally switch into this mode to where you can adapt to your environment so that if you need to make a move, defend yourself, fight, run, whatever, you're in your adaptive state. You're alert. You know what's going on. In your natural state, you go with the flow. It doesn't take as much energy. So you have to ask yourself, in what I'm doing on a daily basis, am I doing it because it comes to me naturally, or does it feel as if I'm forcing myself to do it and now I feel more tired? And as simply as put, one of the ways that you can identify it is, do you feel as if what you're doing, like you get lost in time? Like, do you feel like this is something that you could just do and you don't pay attention to the clock? Or are you doing something to where you're actually looking at the clock because you're ready for it to be over so that you can move on to the next thing? And if you're looking at the clock because you want to move on to that next thing, you have to figure out within that task, how can you move into a more natural state? Now you're going to say, Tommy, how am I supposed to do that? I got to feed my family. Check it. You have to look at the points within the job that you have, and it's just minor adjustments that you need to make, right? If you are used to working in a structure that's organized, and if you're at a job where it's unorganized, then one thing you could do is speak to your manager and speak to them about the lack of organization. Now, Tommy, I'm not used to speaking up. Well, hey, guess what? If you have the ability to adapt to fight or flight, you have the ability to speak up for yourself. Although it may feel very uncomfortable, you can do it. You can definitely do it. All right. So that's number 1. Determine if you are in your natural state or adaptive state. If the assessment is something that you're interested in doing, tomdanger.com, hit me in the contact section. Number 2, you have to figure out how to recharge. Now, I'm speaking specifically to my introverts, right? If you're an introvert, you need to spend time alone. This is what it is, right? So you have to find time throughout the day in which you can take, even if it's as small as 20, 30 minutes to yourself outside of sleeping, so that you can be clear with your thoughts and to charge that battery so that when you are around other people, right? This is where we get our energy from as introverts. Go for a walk by yourself, sit alone, read a book, right? Just do something in total solitude so that when you are out around other people, that battery is fully charged, because throughout the day, it's actually going to deplete. Number 2. And the last thing and the most important thing is you have to learn to say no. Stop trying to please everybody. Stop trying to please people for the sake of pleasing yourself. Because I know it feels good to you when you tell people yes and you can help other people and it makes you feel good. But by you helping other people feel good, now you're feeling drained, then that's not coming from a sincere place, right? Because if you're doing it, you're not doing it for anything in return. You're doing it because you actually want to do it and you want nothing in return. Not to sound redundant, but that's the way that it is. So you have to learn to say no. And learning to say no is just like a discipline. It is a muscle, and you have to practice it. This is the thinking effect, where we help you do your daily best.